Have you ever felt worried because of your low salary? Are you one of those people who work hard every single day but still can't save any money? As soon as your salary arrives, it's gone. Rent has to be paid, electricity and gas bills are due, groceries need to be bought, transport costs keep increasing, and there are so many other expenses. By the end of the month, your savings are zero, and sometimes you even have to borrow money just to get through the last few days. If this sounds like your life, then this story is especially for you. Don't skip this video because the lesson hidden in this story could completely change the way you think about money. Watch until the very end, because by the end of this story, you'll understand why some people become wealthy even on a low salary, while others remain broke no matter how much they earn. Now, let's begin today's inspiring story. This is the story of a young man named Ayaan, whose life changed after one simple conversation with an elderly waiter. Ayaan worked as a clerk in a small private company. Every morning he left for work before sunrise and returned home late in the evening. He worked honestly and never avoided his responsibilities, but despite working hard every single day, he always struggled with money. On the first day of every month, as soon as his salary was credited, he felt rich. He would buy a brand new shirt even though his wardrobe was already full. Then he would spend money on online shopping, eat at restaurants with friends, and buy things he didn't really need. For a few days, life felt comfortable. But by the second week of the month, his wallet would almost be empty. By the end of the month, he didn't even have enough money for his daily expenses. Many times he had to borrow money from friends just to survive until the next salary. This cycle repeated month after month. There was a small hotel near his office where Ayaan ate lunch almost every day. An elderly waiter had been working there for many years. Since Ayaan visited regularly, the old man knew him well. One evening, Ayaan came to the hotel after work, but instead of ordering food immediately, he quietly sat in a corner with his head lowered. He looked worried and lost in thought. The elderly waiter noticed the sadness on his face. He walked over with a glass of water, placed it gently on the table, and asked with a kind smile, "My son, you come here every day with a smile. Today you look troubled. Is everything all right?" Ayaan sighed. "No, uncle, nothing is all right." The old man sat beside him. "Tell me, what's bothering you?" Ayaan replied, "I work from morning until evening. I hardly get any rest. But saving money is impossible. By the end of every month, I don't even have enough money to buy food. I have to borrow money from others. I don't understand where all my salary goes." The old man smiled. "My son, may I ask you a few questions?" "Of course." "When you receive your salary, what is the first thing you buy?" Ayaan smiled awkwardly. "A new shirt? I like wearing new clothes." The old man asked, "How many shirts do you already have?" Ayaan laughed softly. "Honestly, more than I need." The old man continued, "Do you also order things online that you don't really need?" Ayaan lowered his head. "Yes." "And do you eat outside often?" "Almost every day." The old man nodded. "My son, your salary isn't disappearing. You're spending it before thinking." Ayaan remained silent. The old man picked up a spoon from the table and placed it in front of him. Imagine this spoon is your salary. Every unnecessary expense takes away a piece of it. By the time the month ends, there's nothing left. Ayaan asked, "So what should I do? I can't increase my salary overnight." The old man smiled. "You don't need a bigger salary. You need better habits." Ayaan listened carefully. The old man said, "From next month, before spending a single rupee, save at least 10% of your salary. Treat that money as if it doesn't belong to you. Then write down every expense in a notebook." The next month, Ayaan decided to follow the advice. When he received his salary, he immediately set aside 10% in a separate savings account. Then he bought a simple notebook. Every evening, he wrote down every rupee he spent. Within a week, he realized where his money had been disappearing. Expensive coffee, unnecessary online shopping, new clothes, taxi rides, restaurant meals. None of these were essential. That month, he didn't buy a new shirt. His friends laughed. "Wearing the same clothes again?" Ayaan smiled and replied, "I'd rather repeat my shirt than repeat my financial mistakes." Instead of eating outside every day, he carried homemade lunch. Instead of shopping online at night, he spent an hour learning new skills on free websites. At first, it wasn't easy. Sometimes he wanted to spend money like before. But every time he felt tempted, he remembered the old waiter's words. "You don't need a bigger salary. You need better habits." Months passed. Slowly, his savings began to grow. One evening, the old waiter asked, "So, how are things now?" Ayaan smiled. "For the first time in my life, I reached the end of the month with money still in my wallet." The old man smiled proudly. "That's because you're controlling your money instead of letting your money control you." Inspired by his progress, Ayaan continued learning after work. He improved his computer skills, communication skills, and English. A few months later, his manager noticed his dedication and offered him more responsibility. Soon he received a promotion and a salary increase. But this time, he didn't increase his lifestyle. Instead, he increased his savings and started investing a small amount every month. Years passed. His investments grew steadily. He also started freelancing in the evenings, using the skills he had learned. His extra income slowly became larger than his salary. Eventually, Ayaan started his own small business. One day, he returned to the same hotel where everything had begun. The elderly waiter was still there. Ayaan walked up to him with tears in his eyes and said, "Uncle, do you remember the day I sat here with an empty wallet?" The old man smiled. "I remember." Ayaan replied, "That conversation changed my life. I thought I needed more money, but what I really needed was discipline." The old man gently placed his hand on Ayaan's shoulder and said, "My son, becoming rich isn't about how much you earn. It's about how wisely you use what you earn." A person with good habits can build wealth even with a small salary, while a person with bad habits can stay poor no matter how much they earn. Ayaan looked around the hotel and realized that the greatest investment he had ever made wasn't in stocks or business. It was in changing himself. Moral of the story: a low salary is not the biggest obstacle to becoming rich. poor financial habits are: save before you spend, avoid unnecessary expenses, invest in learning new skills, and stay disciplined. Wealth is built one wise decision at a time, not by waiting for a bigger paycheck.